What's going on, everybody? Everybody, what's up? We have ourselves a sad post game is what we have ourselves. Bears dropped the game today, 30-16, and one thing I'm going to tell you guys is that this game actually we talked a lot about trap games ahead of the New Orleans Saints game, but in actuality, this was the true trap game. And we know that there were some things that went out on before the game in terms of what the injury report and what the Ravens were doing and whether or not Lamar was playing or not. But the whole concept overall, man, it was a lot of things here. It was a lot of stuff went on here. But the Bears lose 30-16. Um, Tyler Huntley, I'm gonna give respect up to Tyler Huntley. He played great today. He played the way you would want a backup quarterback. I mean, quite honestly, um, after what I saw today, I would I could make the argument that he maybe should be, not starting in Baltimore over Lamar, but I don't think that I think that there are definitely some spots where he could compete for a starting job. Um, it was a tough one. It was a very tough loss, honestly, guys. A very tough loss. Um, I think I don't even know. I'm almost trying to figure out where to start. What's going on, Trey? I appreciate you here, bro. Where to start? So I'm gonna start from the very beginning. The same issue that we've had essentially the entire season came back to bite us today, and I've talked about this through the year. But the inability to get touchdowns when you're consistently getting in the red zone puts tons of pressure on your defense. And it ultimately comes back to bite you. It came back to bite us in week 1 against the Vikings. It has almost come back to bite us in other games, but our defense creating turnovers has gotten you out of that. But that's no way you can live for an entire season. You cannot, that's not sustainable. And we saw that today against a team that, quite honestly, you would have thought the Bears could be, but I think that's actually a little bit trickier than it seems. But Bears should have been up in this game from the very beginning, 14-0. They drove the ball straight down the field in the first drive of the game, looked unstoppable. Game plan looked great. They were moving the ball great, ended up having to settle for a field goal. Second drive again, they have to settle for a field goal. And now, despite the fact that they completely dominated the game, controlled time of possession like crazy throughout that first quarter, should have been up 14-0. They're only up 6-0. Ravens get it going on offense. They're up 7. They're up 7-6. Defense buckles down a little bit, stops them 10-6 at the half. Obviously, still winnable game. Second half, I felt that Caleb looked like his confidence was dramatically shaken in the second half. I thought the first drive of the first half and the second drive, I thought he looked fine. I thought he was locked in, looked confident. But in the second half, something happened, and his confidence looked shaken. Yeah, it wasn't able to deliver the ball accurately. Felt like he was seeing different things offensively from the line of scrimmage that he wasn't comfortable with. And again, some of the accuracy issues caught him. The biggest play of the game was the interception thrown inside your own 20. That set up a touchdown that really put the Bears behind the 8 ball. And it's just, I don't know what this team is going to have to do about its red zone woes. Obviously, there's some other stuff here we're going to talk about, but like I said, there's so many issues here. I almost don't know where to start. But I don't know what this team's going to have to do to work to improve their offense in the red zone. It has to get better. It is woeful. It is woeful how bad the team is. And I almost just really at this point root for explosive plays that lead to touchdowns, because if the Bears are tackled inside the 20, I immediately lose confidence that this drive is going to end with a touchdown, because just throughout the season, they've been so bad converting in those situations. So I don't know. I don't know what that is. Caleb Williams did not have a great game at all. I'll be honest, though. I don't even think it was as bad as last week. The difference between this week and last week and the win-loss aspect is that the Bears defense didn't force the turnovers that they normally had. And because they didn't force those turnovers, they didn't get as much of a bailout. The offense didn't get bailed out for its inefficiency. So that's really what we saw. I don't think the Ravens turned the ball over at all today, which I know for them was a key concept. They did not want to turn the ball over at all, and they were able to do that and play disciplined football. Obviously, Caleb threw the huge interception to Nate Wiggins to set up the touchdown pass. Here's the thing. I think that this opportunistic defense, when they're healthy, they've been able to hide a couple things. They've been able to hide the fact, one, that they haven't been able to get consistent pressure on the quarterback. It's the first thing they've been able to hide. Second thing they've been able to hide or make up for is the inefficiency of the offense. Now, with the defense carrying tons of injuries and got even more injuries today, I mean, you got to think about the Bears were without their top 3 defensive backs, top 3 corners. And I know you were going against Snoop Huntley and not Lamar Jackson, but we saw today, Snoop Huntley with the right game plan, the right situation. I thought he played really, really well today. Like near flawless football, I thought he played. He only had 5 incompletions, 17 out of 22 for 186 yards, touchdown, no picks. He also had 8 rushes for 53 yards, some really big scrambles that were some big parts of the game. But this defense was just so banged up that they did not have the big plays or the ability to muscle up against the run the way they would need to. So they weren't able to really put enough pressure on Huntley to make certain throws because they ran the ball really well. Yes, you have to take out 53 yards from Tyler Huntley and 8 rushes. But even if you take that out, they still ran the ball 27 times for 124 yards. That's still a pretty effective day rushing the football. 21 rushes for 71 yards for Derrick Henry and a touchdown. Keaton Mitchell had 4 rushes for 43 yards. Every time he touched it, I was scared they were going to the house. It was just defensively, we didn't have the horses, guys. We just did not have the horses. It was really a disappointing loss. And the funny thing of it was, as I was watching today, I never got like upset or yelled or anything like that, which I generally will do. But I didn't do that at all today because it was kind of like it was like a floating kind of experience because I wasn't shocked at all. And I didn't come in with enough streams throughout the week to kind of talk about this. But this truly, the reason why I say this was truly the trap game and not the Saints game. Well, I thought the Saints game was going to be a trap game, but I missed a couple things. One, Dylan Allen going against his former team made sure the defense was up. Caleb Williams, Spencer Rattler dynamic, he's up for it. The running game still has something to prove. Now here we are on a 4-game winning streak. You're going on the road against a 1-5 team that may or may not have Lamar Jackson. That was played with all week. But then once he definitely wasn't playing, I felt like mentally, you definitely are not in the right space mentally. On top of that, you're without your top 3 cornerbacks. You got some issues on the defensive line already. Cole Kmet's out. It's just offensively, I don't think injuries were a major issue. I really don't. Except for we may have missed Cole Kmet's blocking because Colston Loveland's a solid blocker, but he's not quite Cole Kmet as a blocker. So maybe we missed that. I'd have to see some all-22 before I can confirm that. But what I would say is I don't think that injuries really dramatically impact the offense today. It was defensively. We were not able to create the opportunities that I thought we'd be able to create. And it's about how do you take this loss, right? You take this loss and you say, yeah, this is proof we're way far away from where we need to be as a team. We got too comfortable, whatever. Or do you take this loss and you say, well, they were banged up, super banged up at multiple levels on the team. We got to take that into consideration with this. Do we look at it like, oh, okay, well, we'll see what happens next week. Maybe they'll be a little bit healthier and get a couple guys back. Hopefully, maybe get Tyreek back. You look at it that way and just kind of take it glass half full. I actually think we're somewhere in the middle, right? When the defense gets healthier, they will get better, and some of the turnovers will likely reappear. At the same token, I still don't think the way we were playing, even when the defense was healthier, is a sustainable brand of football. You have to find a way to get pressure on the passer. You also have to get some depth at corner. At this point, man, we don't know when Jaylon Johnson's coming back. Kyler Gordon's on IR. Tyreek may or may not be back for the next game. Even if he is back, you're looking at Tyreek and Nahshon Wright. Nahshon Wright gives his all, he tries, but he's not a top level, starting level NFL corner. He's not. I'm sorry, guys. He's just not. I do think that DeAndre Hopkins got away with a face mask, an offensive PI on that really important last drive from the Ravens, but neither here nor there. The amount of times that Nahshon Wright is just out-athleted out there on the field, either being run over, run past, broken in on a double move, just unable to recover. I just don't. He's not an NFL starting cornerback, especially not for an average to above average defense. They have to do something at corner, guys. They got to do something at corner. If they're serious about doing anything this season, they got to look to see who they can sign. They got to look to see who they can trade for. Something has to happen. Yes, you could look to the draft next year, but I mean, all things considered, if you say that you had Kyler Gordon, Jaylon Johnson, and Tyreek Stevenson, you'd say you're pretty solid with those front three, those first three guys. You think you're pretty good, but when they have any level of injury, the depth is man. I want to tell you something. As bad as Nahshon Wright is, man, I don't even think he registered a. I don't think he registered a single statistic. I thought he made a tackle because he definitely got broken off enough. But I'm looking the Bears' other corner, man, that started today, bro. Like I don't think I've ever seen him make a positive play on the field. I'm not just saying it. Like it's Nick McLeod. Nick McLeod was forced to play nickel corner today. And no. Right now, man, if you look at what the Bears have from a healthy corner standpoint, it's Nahshon Wright, Dallas Flowers, Jalen Jones, Nick McLeod, Josh Blackwell, who Josh Blackwell is a special teams ace. He's not really, you don't really want him on the field in line of scrimmage. That's what they have. I just don't imagine. I can't imagine how you can seriously go into next week and further down the road, and this is what you have at corner. At least one new guy has to be brought into this mix, if not two. Kyler Gordon, I think, is out for a minimum of 3 weeks. I think because he went on IR. We don't know about Tyreek Stevenson, but I'm just telling you guys, something has to move as it pertains to reinforcements at corner. Now, as far as Caleb is concerned, ladies and gentlemen, these are some serious struggles that I think that he's going through right now. The stats don't actually tell the full story, if we're being honest, because you look at his stats today and you'll say, wasn't that bad. 25 of 38, 285 yards, no touchdowns, a pick. With Caleb, most of the time with Caleb, when you look at the bad play, it's not the picks. It's the incompletions and the way that they happen. It's it's the not taking the check downs, which I don't. I'm going to need to look at his film from this after this week, so I can't wait for Bears film room or whoever to post it because I really want to see what he was looking at on each throw. Someone brought up to me earlier today. They were like, I don't know if he's seeing the full field. I don't know either. But he definitely, and throughout the entire second half, he looked dramatic. He looked very uncomfortable the whole second half. And there was plays that he needed to make to extend drives. He didn't make most of those plays. But at the same time, I don't think he was as bad today as he was against the Saints. I thought he was worse against the Saints. I thought he put the ball in jeopardy more against the Saints than he did against the Ravens this today. But very disappointing loss. Very disappointing. I appreciate you, Shadow Band. That's always important. Brother. Yeah, man, it's just a very, very tough loss. Very tough loss. It sucks when you look at the schedule and you're like, dang, this looks like a victory. This is like, especially once we realized that Lamar wasn't playing. I haven't had somebody tell me today at church. They were like, oh, Bears got it today. Lamar not playing. Yep. And as soon as he said that, I had a sinking feeling. Because I'm going to be honest with you. Whenever and I don't want to be insulting, but whenever like a casual fan says, like, has a take like that, it always makes me nervous. Because those are the games. Those are the ones that come back to bite you. They come back to bite you hard. But it's going to be interesting to hear what some of the post-game comments are from Ben, from Caleb, from a couple guys on defense. I'm really afraid of what's going to happen with Jaquan Brisker on social media because he tends to wild out after losses. So we'll see what happens there. If we're wondering about the Bears' run game, it wasn't horrible today. It wasn't as spectacular as it has been, but they had a total of 96 yards on the ground on 23 carries, average 4.2 yards per carry. Now, granted, 24 yards was from Caleb Williams. He had 22 on one scramble, but still, DeAndre Swift was 11 rushes for 45 yards. That's over 4 yards a carry. He had a touchdown. Monangai was a little bit disappointing. His output was at least. I also thought there were some situations where Monangai could have diversified his approach to the line of scrimmage, just heading straight downhill instead of any kind of cut left or right. Nothing at all, never taking those opportunities. So only had 24 yards on 7 carries. I kind of want them to eliminate the DJ Moore out of the backfield packages, at least just handing it to him. I haven't seen it work much this year. I got to look. How many yards does DJ Moore have rushing this year? Because that entire experiment just doesn't seem to be working. The best game he's had, depends on how you look at it, but against Washington, he had 2 rushes for 10 yards. Against the Saints, he ran the ball once. He got 9 yards. They have handed him the ball, 11 times this year. And he has generated a total of 37 yards on those 11 rushes. My thought is that when you are doing things like this and using guys as somewhat of a gadget player, you want to get big plays, explosive plays out of it. I don't think they're getting that from him. I think they want to appease him, get the ball in his hands, and get him the touches that he wants. But I think they need to essentially diversify how many people they're looking at targets at with through the passing game. He's still a magnificent weapon in that sense, and maybe Caleb's leaning a little bit too heavily at Rome Odunze. Another person I was a little bit disappointed. Well, I wasn't disappointed with DJ, but one person I was disappointed in today was Colston Loveland. He had 5 targets, caught 3 of them for 38 yards. I'm not seeing the consistent separation that we expected from him because of his athleticism and size, we're not seeing that quite as much. So that was a little bit worrisome to me. I thought overall, though, I thought that the Ravens had a really strong defensive game plan too, and I thought that gave the Bears some real problems. So, yeah, it was a tough game, very tough game, guys. So I'm gonna follow up. I'm gonna look at what's happening in the post game and what is discussed moving forward. But yeah, this was a tough one. We must admit this was a tough one. But we come back next week and we try to see if we can pick up these pieces, get back on the winning track. Bears on the road against the Bengals. The Bengals just took a really tough, nasty loss. They lose. They actually give the Jets their first victory of the game, first victory of the season. Jets knocked them off 39-38. It was really good to see Justin Fields get a victory and see him play well. So that was cool. He engineered a 39-38 victory. Justin was 21-32, 244 yards and a touchdown. He also ran the ball for 31 yards. So he had a solid game, and Jets get their first victory. I was happy to see that for Justin's standpoint. But yeah, that's what we got for today, guys. Like always, I appreciate you watching. I had to come through with this post game. God bless and peace.